Hello and welcome to this week's episode of The Knock On, brought to you by Zero Tackle. Dan, what a huge weekend of footy it has been. Finals week 1 done and dusted. We are off to week 2 of the finals, but there are some massive talking points. Hit me with it.
Well, let's start with the big one, mate. Jack Wighton,
Jack Wighton. Yeah, there's been some really good ones, hasn't there?
Yeah, have. I said that he best try to win a comp before he moves to the Bunnies. So
Very good.
It's been fun, but what isn't fun is that he's been found guilty of biting and sentenced to adjudicated. He will miss 3 weeks. What are your thoughts on the decision? Do you feel it's lenient or do you feel it's just right?
All right, let's play it out from start to finish to what could happen from here on in. On the field, Tyson Gamble, and this is where a lot of fans don't quite understand the process behind a bite. Tyson Gamble has made the allegation to the referee that there's a bite on my arm, and he's pointed to what clearly looked like a bite mark on his arm. Now, Ashley Klein did not see said bite, so cannot rule on it. I don't know if anyone watched Graham Annesley's review on this, but specifically stated Ashley Klein did not see it, therefore cannot have a ruling and cannot have an influence on the penalty of it. So he has to go to the bunker, right? Has to go to the bunker. And the bunker couldn't definitively say yes or no that there was a bite. Now, there were 2 obvious ones. Is Ash Garner from the females?
Yep.
NRLW, and Kevin Proctor, where Kevin Proctor, you clearly see him lifting the skin off Sean Johnson's arm. I didn't see the one in the NRLW, but you heard the great thing about being mic'd up is you heard the interaction between Ashley Klein and the video referee, and he said, "Is there a bite? Can you see a clear bite? And am I sending him off?" Mm-hmm. And it was no. Just put it on report. Now, I've seen lots of people come out blaming Ashley Klein for this, saying Ashley Klein didn't have the stones to make a big decision. And most of those people were Newcastle fans. Ashley Klein had the stones of steel and literally gave you the decision to win the game. So he will make a big decision. He just wasn't allowed to, and he followed the rules exactly as it is.
Correct.
Do I think that he bit him? Absolutely. Do I think that Tyson Gamble's arm should have been around Jack Wighton's face? No, but that's no excuse to bite. Okay, we're not 4, we're not 5 years old.
Is it mitigating circumstances though?
Well, yeah, I mean, here's the thing, right? If the video referee cannot see a clear and obvious bite, how can the NRL judiciary rule on it? How can they rule on it?
I agree with that. On going back to Sunday, though, you and I discussed this on Outlaws. You couldn't tell it was a clear bite. You couldn't rule out that it wasn't. It probably was, but you can't send him off on probably. They had maybe 8 looks. The judiciary had multiple looks. They interviewed and spoke to numerous players, some who did themselves a disservice more than anything. Jack Wighton, how many games have you played? So it's a different process, and they don't have to decide. They decided he bit him, but the fact that he got 3 weeks instead of 6 to 8 says to me that they figured, because if they had proof that he bit him, he's gone for 6 to 8. Now I agree, he's bitten him, but when a bloke's put his hands in your mouth, that's different to having your hand out here and reaching out and biting. That's what the mitigating circumstance, as silly as that may sound. That's why I believe he only got 3 weeks. Because the second I heard he was guilty, I thought he was going for 8.
Kevin Proctor got 4 weeks, and it was an obvious bite. So I don't think he was going to go for 6 to 8 weeks. But I'm with you. I think they've obviously just looked at the mark on Tyson Gamble's arm and said, well, that didn't get there by itself.
True.
Now, as an experiment, you can push your hand onto your teeth if you want. You're going to get teeth marks, but not like that. That looked deep. That looked imprinted. But my problem with this is if the video referee has said, no, mate, I can't see a clear bite, and he's in the bunker and they've got 13 camera angles or whatever it is, how have the judiciary then turned around and said, well, we'll throw that out the window, but we're going to find you guilty? Tell me, Dan, how have they done it?
Look, I don't know. We've seen players sent off. We've
It's a
seen
lottery.
players sent off and then not get suspended. We've seen Phins not get penalised and then be suspended for weeks upon weeks. So, yeah, it is a lottery. I think big props to Ashley Klein. You're right.
Yeah.
Newcastle gone off their tree. I want them to step out and look at it from a neutral fans. I think he got it right. Did he bit him? Probably. Did he bite
Yeah.
him mother? Probably. 3 weeks is 3 weeks. I think I right overall.
Yep.
Yeah. Did the Phins get it right in their first season? We're going to have a quick discussion about the inaugural season for the not Redcliffe Dolphins.
I think they did as much as they could because this was really rushed, right? And you got to take it back to when we introduced the Cowboys, the Warriors, the Western Reds in 1995. There were multiple seasons leading up to expansion. And then the Hunter Mariners were a bit part thrown together during Super League. The Adelaide Rams came in as well. But every time we've expanded, you generally get 2 or 3 seasons to plan. The NRL turned around and said, it's the beginning of 2022, you've got a team in 2023. Good luck with your recruitment. So I think they did what they could because there weren't a lot of star players off contract.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of the star players that were off contract for next season, and they had a good chat with these players. Obviously, you got to remember last year when Reece Walsh said that he wanted out of the Warriors, everyone thought he was going to the Dolphins, and the Warriors said, we won't release you if you're going to the Dolphins, we'll keep you. It's well within our rights to keep you. You can go anywhere but Redcliffe. So he's ended up at the Broncos. Thank you. Cheers. But players like Harry Grant, Brendan Smith, they thought that they were having a good crack at these, and it just turns out that the players were using them to get better terms and conditions at their club. I think for what they did and for what they had on paper, I picked them to come 11th. They finished 13th.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I mean, I was a little bit higher on them, and I think, a couple of injuries probably cost them some games that they should have won, could have won, should have won to finish around that 11th place. So I think it was a fair season. I think they've got the recruitment for 2024 bang on though. If you're talking about recruitment for 2024, they're A+. Herbie Farnworth, Tom Flegler straight away, and the fact that they were able to get out of Brenko Lee's contract, nailed it. So it's been a good 12 months for the Phins.
I agree. I was on record as saying if they don't finish last, it's a success. I looked at that squad and I thought, okay, their 1 to 17 is a little bit better than 3 or 4 teams, but their from 17 to the rest is absolute. Who are these guys? Now, we saw it. They started like a house on fire. They upset, team after team after team. They spanked the Sharks at Magic Round. They were flying. Soon as the injuries, the suspensions came in, they had no squad depth. Everyone and their dog could see this coming. I think they outperformed any single, especially off the field, selling out pretty much every game they had, including some blockbusters.
Huge membership numbers as well.
I think it's been a huge success on and off the park. I think the Hammer was a signing of all signings. Okay, Milford didn't work out, but they had to take the punt. They needed a bloke who'd played more than 5 games to partner Sean O'Sullivan at first. I know he got injured. It didn't work out. So what? But you look at it, you think, Lemu, fantastic signing. Aitken, fantastic signing. And Jermaine Asako was the big one, the leading point scorer. Almost set the leading try scorer as well. So I think they've done very, very well. And again, the squad depth wasn't there. Everyone knew it wasn't. They've recruited especially well. They've built a foundation now. Mate, I think it's a huge, huge success.
Yeah, I think it's and as you said, the Hammer was integral for that because he was brilliant. But they got Herbie Farnworth. That is a transformational signing. That automatically gives them two potent attacking weapons plus Jermaine Asako. They've now got Tom Flegler who wants to step out of Payne Haas's shadow and become a leader. Fantastic. It's been a great 12 months for the Dolphins.
Absolutely agree. Another one, it's been a fantastic, 6 or so months, is your new favourite player, Tyson Gamble. Now, for those that missed it during the week, Willie Mason was dragged. I think that's what the kids say, dragged. Did I say that right, Terry? On social media for saying that outside of Kalen Ponga, the Newcastle Knights have a bottom 3 spine. I don't disagree with that. But Tyson Gamble has come out and said, get effed, Willie, get effed. What are your thoughts?
Well, Willie Mason was on the podcast with Justin Horro, it's changed its name so many times. That was the Horoscope. I don't even know what it's called now. But he said, look, no one's doing video on Phoenix Crossland, Jackson Hastings and Tyson Gamble outside of Kalen Ponga. They're not doing anything. Tyson Gamble was the second best player on the field on Sunday afternoon. the best player on the field was Kalen Ponga,
Mhm.
by far. And I know Dominic Young had the highlights, but Tyson Gamble was absolutely sensational. And he's now come out and said, tell Willie to get effed. We are a bunch of blokes who just epitomise this squad. We go out and play. Yeah, we got Kalen Ponga. He's a superstar. He's a top 3 player in the game at the moment. But Kalen Ponga can't do anything without us. And he's absolutely right. Now, a couple of years ago, Tyson Gamble was a meme. And we laughed when he went up to Brisbane and got named in a squad against the Sharks and then turned into a man of match performance and beat us. And we've just watched this evolution of a player in the last 18 months. And he just fits Newcastle. Like, if you were to think of what does a typical Newcastle person look like, it's Tyson Gamble. What does a typical Newcastle player play like? It's Tyson Gamble. And, oh, man, I'm thrilled. I love him. I mean, him and Kalen Ponga have made me appreciate Newcastle. I nearly bought a jersey. I wouldn't, but I nearly did.
Never thought I'd hear those words.
If I can get a Henny Penny Knights retro jersey in my size, I'll buy it.
There we are. Anyone who's got a Henny Penny for sale, hit him up. Hit Terry up. Look, I love it. We sit here and we make comments. When we're proven wrong, we cop grief. I'm all for it. I'm not one of these people that's going to say, I never saw that. So I never said that, even though it's on camera. Or say, you're obsessed with me because you remembered something dumb I said a couple of months ago that really annoyed people when I said it. You say stupid things, you get called out. Willie Mace got called out, and I guarantee he doesn't care. But I saw some people say, it wasn't very classy of Tyson Gamble. So what?
Was it classy of Willie Mason to go on a podcast and swear his head off and say that Tyson Gamble was a terrible player?
Absolutely not. Willie Mason's entitled to his opinion. I have no problem with it. Pre-season, I would have agreed with him. I wouldn't say it now. They just won 9 games in a row before he said it. So
perfect 10.
Perfect 10. Just a little time to on the Newcastle hate, at least till they lose. So I get it, but I get Tyson Gamble coming out and saying, "Well, mate, get it up, yeah. We've just won 1,000 games in a row. I'm fine personally. Jackson Hastings got injured, and I took Phins Crossland to a semi-final win. I think it's time to stand back and applaud these players. And good on them if they want to snap back. Mate, I live for the day that Blake Bailey wins a grand final medal and says, hey, Terry and Dan, I did it. And you know what I'm going to say? Thank you, Blake.
Thank you. Do you know what, though? Just before we take a break onto our next segment, Willie Mason wouldn't have cared that Tyson Gamble said that. It will be water off a duck's back. And I guarantee you Willie Mason has probably been a bigger man to pick the phone up, send him a message and say, good on you, I deserve that.
Absolutely agree. Now, Terry.
Talk to me, Dan.
We were going to do our normal dropkick and our sin bin segment, and we both clicked submit on what we were going to speak about at the exact same time. So what we're going to do is we're going to combine this and see how it goes. I'm going to let you go first because I'm a nice guy. Hopefully you don't take my main sticking point, but the NRL has, they didn't announce, but it's come out that the backflip is back. Can you explain what this means and give us your thoughts?
So the backflip, as they're calling it, is a 10-day cooling off period like you get with every contract you sign. Whether you buy a house, a gym membership, a car, brand new car, whatever, you got 10 days to back out of it, right? And I don't think that the NRL absolutely abolished it. I think they gave the players the right to waive their 10-day cooling off period. But I think some clubs have now come out and said, no, we don't want that. We want the 10 days, right? If you're going to go and sign somewhere, we want 10 days. So basically now, on November 1, let's just pick a random player. Let's pick Jerome Luai. On November 1, Jerome Luai signs a multi-million-dollar deal with the Cronulla Sharks. Essentially, this gives Penrith until the 11th of November to turn his head, right? Now, here's the thing for mine. I'm okay with it because it's with every contract that you get, you do get that 10-day cooling off period, right? Like, I challenge you now, go to your local gym. It'll tell you got 10 days to pull the pin on it, right? With no cost. I just think it's a risk for clubs to announce the signing before the 10-day cooling off period because then you'll look foolish, okay? Mm-hmm. So if Cronulla signed Jerome Luai on the 1st of November, I don't want them to announce it until the 12th of November. Because you look ridiculous if you announce it on the 2nd of November and on the 10th of November, Jerome Luai turns around and goes, I'm staying at Penrith for 4 years. That's all I'll say on it, right? And I'm glad. I don't think the NRL even need to make this public, right? But someone's gone and stuck their nose in the media because they have to, just to make some ridiculous ruling during the final series. Just let us enjoy the finals, right? But if you're a club and you've signed a player, announce it on the 11th day. Don't announce it on the 1st. Don't announce it on the 7th. Don't even announce it on the 9th. Because you announce it the morning of the 9th, and I guarantee you that player is backing out on, So, yeah, just don't do it.
Look, exactly right. I think you're overall correct in that I don't think this ever went away. I think it was players could say, hey, no worries, and sign. Now, maybe they could still do that. I don't know. It hasn't fully come out yet. My big worry on this is that a player is going to use it as a negotiating tactic, or more specifically, a player agent is going to use it as a tactic. They're going to go to the West Tigers and sign a deal and say, cool, announce it. The Tigers are going to say, we're going to wait 10 days. And they're going to say, no, announce it now. It's important that we get it out there. Then that player agent's going to go back to whoever they're with and go, hey, see, we're very serious about going. We've signed a contract. Here's what we want, or I'm going over there. And the club's going to say, well, we've only got a couple of days to figure this out. They're going to sign a deal. I have no doubt in the world that this happens anyways, but I think you'll find that stories of it will come out now, because you go back years and years. Daly Cherry Evans signed for the Titans. They trumpeted it. They stopped recruiting. They pulled because they spent $1 million a season or whatever it was at the time. It was ridiculous. Only for Daly Cherry Evans to backflip. We saw James Tedesco sign with the Raiders. The Raiders are cool. We're going to build around this young superstar. He pulls the pin and he re-signs with the Tigers. It's harmful and I hate it. 10 days is 10 days. If I sign something and then magically the club comes back to me and goes, hey, we've actually found an extra $500K. Okay, I can understand a player going, you know what? I get it. But even without the cooling off period, you can sign somewhere and in 6 months' time, something happens. You can go to the club and say, I want out, and discuss it. I don't think anything's really going to change, except I guarantee you a player agent, not going to name which, it'll be all of them, is going to use this as a negotiating tactic, and I hate it.
The other thing for mine, just before we go on that, Dan, if I'm a player, if I'm an NRL player, and I'm playing for the Sharks, and I go to the Sharks and say my market value says that I'm worth $500,000 a year and for 4 years, and they turn around and say we only value it $350,000 for 4 years, so if you can go and get $500,000 elsewhere, go and get $500,000. If I go and sign for, let's say I go and sign for the Broncos, 4 years, $500,000, and then Cronulla on the 7th day turn around and go, actually, we'll give you the $500,000. As a player, wouldn't you just turn around and go, where was this when I was going to sign? And why are you doing it now? So here's a rule that I want in place on this backflip and this 10-day contract, right? You can't exceed the contract that they've signed. So if I go and sign a $500,000 deal with the Brisbane Broncos, you can't entice me with $600,000. You have to match it. You can only put forward the exact same terms and conditions as the Broncos did. Can't go over the top of them because you had all this time to do it and you didn't value the player and you've allowed them to walk. Now someone else has valued him at $500,000. You can't all of a sudden value him at $600,000 just to get him to stay. Got to offer him the same terms and conditions. Like a restricted free agent in the NBA, you sign an offer sheet. In the NBA, you've got 3 days, I think it is, to match it. Here we've got 10 days. You take the offer sheet, you show it to your club. They've got 10 days to match it. If they match it, you can stay or you can go.
Well, there you go. That'll stop the player agents, those dirty player agents. Oh, I like it. I mean, we've just solved a potential issue.
Dan.
Talk to me, Terry.
Time for the set restart, mate. We got rid of Ben Cummins, but you and I will keep the tradition of the 6 agains. Maybe only 5. What's going on? Talk to me.
The NRL buys a hotel. Now, we all know the NRL has these hush funds and these marquee player funds and these funds and all these sorts of things. They've come out and bought a hotel. And just coincidentally, it's right next door to Shark Park. Do you like it? I love it.
I mean, I don't hate it. Anytime that the NRL are going to put any money near Cronulla, you've got to enjoy it, right? I think it's perfect timing. On Saturday, Peter V'landys has turned around and said that he's going to the government to push for money for a stadium upgrade at Cronulla because Dino Mezzatesta is stubborn and he will not move the Sharks out of the Shire. So to continue to not cop the backlash of finals footy and to continue to grow and promote the game and get the girls solid changing sheds and to get the centre of excellence and to put, extra 5,000 seats in there. He wants to fund it and to show that he is serious about keeping the Sharks in the Shire. They've gone and invested in the hotel next door. If you read it, it's nothing earth-shattering. It's basically just so teams on their away days can stay next door without having to travel anywhere. Now, there's a story behind this, and I believe it's when the Sharks played the Brisbane Broncos on Saturday night this year, that the Broncos stayed at the Ridges in Cronulla and decided to leave a little bit later than they normally would and got hammered in traffic. Now, it didn't do anything to their performance because they went out and hammered the Sharks, but just having that opportunity to check in early, know that you're at the hotel, walk over to the ground when you need to use the train, when you need to train and use the facilities, gives clubs like the Warriors that stability, gives all the travelling teams up as well. And a team like Canberra, right? Now, it doesn't sound like much, but Canberra is a 3-hour drive home. And if we play at 7:30 on a Saturday night, the game finishes, by the time you finish your media commitments and everything else, the game finishes at 11 o'clock. By the time they get home, it's 2 o'clock in the morning. They've just got that nice facility next door. So I think it's a good move, and I'm all for it if the NRL can do that for every team. They've done it in Brisbane. They bought a hotel on Caxton Street, apparently. If they can do it, like if they can invest, there's a hotel at Penrith. If they can invest in the hotel at Penrith, they can invest in hotels anywhere for every club. I'm all for it. The more that they can do to keep teams where they are, and the more that they can do to ensure that it's a healthy and strong competition, I'm all for it. It just so happens that it's at Cronulla and get it up, yeah.
Good. We deserve this. Now, look, I've seen people come out and say this is their way of back-ending the Sharks and saving them. So nothing to do with this. The NRL is diversifying what they own because without, a repeat of what happened in 2020 and early 2021, hotels are pretty much foolproof. They're usually full. You find that no matter how many hotels go up, you think, how's that going to feel? People are going to stay there. How many times have we gone to book a place in Cronulla and the Ridges are charging ridiculous amounts? Because they can, because it's the only real one. Now, of course, the Quest across the road, now there's a Quest at Cronulla. I think it's genius. If they need someone to run the hotel, give me a call. I've done it before for many, many years, and I guarantee I'll look after the Broncos when they come down. Early wake-up calls for all. But on a serious note, I think this is genius, and I think it is, as you said, it's perfect for game days, and they will turn over a good profit as long as they run it well.
I saw a ridiculous reach on this, though, right? And someone compared this to now that the NRL owner and a Cronulla fan is apparently going to run the hotel, that you're going to get a lot of Jordan food poisoning games. Like, no, you're not. Shut up. Like, what a ridiculous reach. Go away.
I've had many, many oppositions stay in hotels that I've worked at. I've guaranteed you I've never food poisoned any of them. But, mate, I don't know how to transition to this one, but the Penrith Panthers have come out and they've signed 2 players, one of superstar potential and one who's pretty darn good. Now, I joked during the week that Alamoti signing from the Bulldogs would be turned into a bench utility and re-signed for the Bulldogs in a couple of years. Of course, that was in jest. They're losing a pretty handy centre, and they've signed a bloke who can push who they have for that centre spot. I think you're going to see a superstar in Alamoti, and Schneider's just going to fit right on in where Cogger and Sean O'Sullivan have as being fringe first-grade halves that become first choice elsewhere.
Yeah, look, let's. I won't touch the Alamoti one for a minute. Let's just talk about Schneider, right? He signed a 1-year deal knowing that he's going to get his opportunities during Origin, and he's going to get his opportunities when Jerome Luai does something dumb and gets himself suspended. Mm-hmm. Okay, so that's when he's going to do it. Now, Nathan Cleary always picks up a random injury as well. So Schneider's probably looking at that going, I've got 8 games to show that I am a star. Now, look at Jack Cogger. He's played 4 games during the year, and one of them was a finals game, or 5 games during the year. One of them has been a finals game. So Schneider has done great for his career in the last 6 months. Canberra just weren't playing him, right? For whatever reason, they were picking Frawley over him. And we saw this guy make his debut in round 1 last year against Cronulla and kick us off the park, okay? So he's gone to Hull, really playing good footy over there. Probably could have signed long-term as well, but he's backing himself to come over and get himself an NRL deal because there are a lot of old halves in the competition and there are a lot of halves in the competition that don't have a nailed-on partner. Look at the Sharks, for example. Started with Matt Moyle and you got Braden Trindle who didn't stand out in the finals, and he's probably looking at that going, geez, if I don't have 8 good games there, maybe I'll get 2 years at Cronulla. Maybe Canberra will actually see me for my value. So I think that's smart. The Alamoti signing terrifies the life out of me.
Mm-hmm.
This is a guy who debuted at 18 years old, has been chased by Rugby Australia because they know how much talent he has, and they have allowed him to walk into the Panthers team. Now, there was another centre that Penrith were looking at named Kaoliro, and it's come down to the choice of who was going to sign first, and Paul Alamoti got he was the first one. He got released from the Dogs. He's gone there and signed, right? Kaoliro's got a contract with Cronulla for 2024. So this is a signing now where they've got a centre spot open with Stephen Crichton. He goes there and has a huge preseason. And you got to have a look at it. Like Isaac Tungo is nailed on. Have a look at the other people that they've got there. Tom Jenkins has been great in New South Wales Cup. Hasn't really made the transition. They've got Jesse McLean, more winger than centre. Talon May, only ever played on the wing. And Tyrone Peachy. Alamoti's probably looking at that going, great off-season, puts me right in ahead of him. And you could probably see Talon May playing New South Wales Cup because he's come back from an ACL injury.
Mm-hmm. Very, very
he goes there for 1 year and has an absolute ripper. Penrith have got themselves a great centre and they re-signed him for a couple of years. Oh, man. How they've allowed him to walk to Penrith is just baffling.
The sky's the limit. Local junior, he and Averillo were the two coming in that you try and build your club around. They've let them both go. I don't get it. Like, I'm at a loss. Now, you and I had a bit of a laugh at Alamoti's expense just because of some silly stuff said by other fans. Comes down to it. I would have loved him to play at Newtown next year with an eye to moving him up into the centre spot that Talakai will move. Put him and Hero on separate sides and say 1 year is going to be our future centre. Go and earn it. Because going back to 2 years ago, Kaoliro was the undisputed New South Wales Cup Player of the Year. Head and shoulders above. Too good. Cheat code. Alamoti bodied him in a prelim final, made him look like an absolute amateur. We knew he was going to be a star. Okay, the Bulldogs, it's not a good system. I don't think I'm breaking any news there, and I don't mean to be unfair, but I don't think that is unfair. The system at the moment is not good. He jumped in, he played wing, he played centre. I think they put him at fullback for a game, unofficially, played some time there. He went to the middle. They had no idea how to use this kid. What they should have done was sit him in New South Wales Cup and say, look, you've had a taste of first grade. Go back, get your fundamentals right. You're going to be a superstar. Just be patient. They didn't. They rushed him. They flipped him. They disrespected him, and then they wouldn't offer him a contract. It was talk he was going to go to the Cowboys. I think that was thrown up to say, oi, I'm serious about going. Where is it? Penrith come along. You cannot blame this kid for jumping. He's going to be a superstar at Penrith. Mark my words. I'm happy someone crop this and remind me in 3 years that I said this because this kid's going to be a star. It's like every time you see Nick Meaney go down to play on the Craig Bellamy at the Storm, you just know, and I just know this kid's going to be a star in the Cleary. I cannot believe that the Bulldogs let him go. I'm glad they did, though, for his sake, because he's walking into an absolute gem of a system. Now, Terry, rep football is back. Kind of. It
is. It's kind of back. The Prime Minister's 13 squad was named today of the teams that didn't make the finals and bowed out in the first week of the competition. So let's quickly go in alphabetical order. Josh Adokar, Daly Cherry Evans, vice captain. Ruben Cotter, Tom Dearden, Tino Fa'a, Sumawali, Omre Gula, Ben Hunt, Nico Hines, Olafinia, Cam Pereira, Zach Lomax, Cam McInnes, Cam Murray, captain. Mm-hmm. Reece Robson, Tyrell Sloan, Hammer, Murray Tuolangi, Jake Travojevic, Cody Walker, and Hudson Young. Man, that's a top squad.
That is a freakishly good squad of players that aren't playing finals football or anymore. There are a couple there.
Like that squad there would literally go and win the World Cup.
It very well could. It is great. Like I'm Okay, look, I have my doubts whether the Prime Minister's actually picked these sides, but I have no doubt that, he and Ian, the former Prime Minister, both big rugby league fans, would have said, we must have so-and-so. I think that's
he's picked it because Cam Murray's the captain.
Well, I was going to say there's a reason our bunny is the captain over Daly Cherry Evans, but, mate, I really like this squad. And I think they're going to do some damage with the greatest of respects.
Yeah, they generally do. Now, this game here isn't for anything other than to take a game to Papua New Guinea and to pump some very well-needed resources into that country and into the grassroots footy over there. You also got to remember that PNG have got an off-season tournament, so they're probably going to use this as a great hit-out. Now, Justin Olam, who is going to be the feature player for PNG, regardless of his form at Melbourne, will not be there because Melbourne is still in the finals, but they're still going to knock out a pretty good squad. Oh, sorry, AJ as well. Oh, no, AJ will be able to play for PNG. But, yeah, look, I think you name this squad and Australia's going to go and win. But the fans over there don't care. We've seen them storm the pitch to get a photo with their favourite player after 10 minutes. We've seen them running after the bus, blocking the bus. Like, it's really what it's all about. Like, no one remembers the score. Everyone just remembers what is happening over there. I think it's great. Like, they never used to televise it, and then all of a sudden they did. This is the great thing about it, is that now we get to watch it.
Do you remember the greatest moment in this fixture's history?
Where ScoMo ran out, the water bottle.
Yeah, well, that too, where Peter Beattie stood and held the camera up and live streamed it on Facebook.
Yes, I do remember that. Yeah, that was fantastic as well.
It was, especially the time where he had it on selfie mode for a couple of minutes and didn't realise. But
he did.
That was genius. And, yeah, this game needs to be televised because it is a fun fixture. And like you said, this isn't about the result. Who cares? This is about getting some of the best players in the world. And do not get me wrong. If you name Cherry Evans, Nico Hines, Ben Hunt, and they're just your halves that aren't playing finals football anymore.
That's Cody Walker.
Yeah, it is ridiculous. Like, these are origin quality halves that are going to go over for a couple of days to a week. Get into that culture. It helps the players. It helps the kids over there and the adults. Well, I love this, and I will not hear anything negative on it. I don't care if Australia win 140-0 or 140-1, because I guarantee you that 1 point will be cheered like it's a match winner, just like we've seen in the World Cup. I think it's fantastic.
The NRLW has named a team as well, and it's of rising stars, because there's a couple of players who aren't in the NRLW that have been named into this team, and there's also some veterans going over there as well. Again, all players who aren't playing finals footy. So congratulations to all the females that have been selected. We'll run through that team list quickly as well. Tegan Berry, Kennedy Charrington, vice captain, Ruben Charrington, Abby Church, Keisha Lee Colwell, Quincy Dodd, Sharks legend, Kayla Fleming, Talisha Harden is the captain from North Queensland. Congratulations to her. Kimberly Hunt, Emma Manzelman, Jasmine Morrissey, Rachel Pearson, Christian Pio, China Plata, probably the best name in NRLW, Tiana Rafstrand-Smith, Tenika Todd-Hunter, that's a pretty good name as well, Casey Toahiku, Batel Vete Walsh, Jakia Whitfield, and Janelle Williams. Probably butchered all their names. Don't care. Congratulations, girls.
It's going to be fantastic. A lot of big names there, but a lot of names that in 3 years you're going to go, well, remember when? So, again, absolutely.
Just a bit upset Jada Taylor didn't make the team if you're going for emerging stars.
Very cool. Now, speaking of emerging stars, Terry, we've seen a potential superstar in Siua Wong emerge. Goes with emerging stars over the past 6 or 7 weeks, including a second or third best on ground at worst against Cronulla in a semi-final, out of position largely. This kid's a freak, and he's been chased by not only several NRL clubs, in brackets, I don't have confirmation of that, but also rugby, because he is eligible for Australia, New Zealand, I believe Tonga, and I believe one of the islands as well. And I think there was a fifth. I can't remember. Sorry, I should check that before. But this guy is pretty much a tug-of-war with anyone who's anyone. And I would love to see Cronulla join that race. Obviously, it may not be possible. He's going to be able to name his price, name his game, because he played lots of rugby union growing up too. This kid could be anything.
The Roosters find themselves in a real hard position about this as well. And I've been told that if they keep Wong, they're going to lose one of Nafu White and Terrell May.
Jeez.
So they probably weren't expecting to pay this kid as much money as they needed to, and they're probably cursing the fact that they've given him an NRL debut, and he's been so good. But he is fantastic. Like, he's so good that you're probably also going up to Satili Tupanua and saying, if you can get a contract elsewhere, off you go. Now, people thought that the offsetting of Fletcher Baker would help in this situation here, but Terrell May, Nafu White, and Siua Wong have been so good that they're probably not just going to sign a minimum wage deal now. They can probably go and double that and get an extra year out of it as well. The one thing that we have to do is keep him away from rugby union. I understand he's got a rugby background, etc., whatever. Don't let him go to rugby union. He has to stay in the NRL. Like, he has got superstar potential written all over him. And he could be like the Dolphins, for example. We've called Herbie Farnworth a transformational signing. So could this kid. He's that good. Him and Lemuelu on the edges would be terrifying. You got Tom Gilbert coming back into that mix as well. Really good player. Really, really good player. I don't care where he goes. Hopefully it's in the black, white, and blue. It just can't be he can't go over and watch his mate kick field goals for a living. He has to stay in the NRL.
No, exactly right. Now, the reason rugby are in it is because there's a British and Irish Lions tour coming up, and there's also a World Cup in the next cycle. So they'll be going hard for him. But you're exactly right. You're exactly right.
I didn't even know the Rugby World Cup was on now.
Yeah, no, me neither. No one cares about rugby. Siua, if you're watching and we know you are, please stay in our great game and come join us at Cronulla. I'll cook you dinner, mate, because you are a freak. But, mate, we're going to throw an extra one in here because I'm angry. I'm furious, in fact. The New South Wales Cup prelim final is on this weekend. And you know where you can watch it? On a Facebook stream. That's not good enough. We have Queensland Cup on KO, and we have this on a Facebook stream. Now, I watched the Facebook stream of the Jersey Flag, which I completely get isn't made for TV. I understand that. 330 people watching. Junior New South Wales Cup, it got up to about 420. Then it dropped down to 200. 200 people watching the next superstars of our game is not good enough. This needs to be on KO. There are cameras everywhere. If they need a commentator, you and I can go do it for free. Just give us the experience. Point one camera like they do for the New South Wales Cup. Just put it on KO. Put it on KO Sport 96, where 500 people can join in, because I guarantee you that fans of both clubs this week, especially the long-suffering Bears, will be there watching it. And they're playing the Warriors, mate. Everyone's got Warriors fever at the moment, and they want more. But 300 people will log in on a Saturday afternoon if they remember on a Facebook stream that drops in and out. This sucks, and I hate it.
Are you telling me that they couldn't put this game on at 1 o'clock on Saturday afternoon, featuring the Warriors, in a lead-up to a game against the Newcastle Knights on Saturday afternoon? You couldn't get... that is a way to maximize viewer potential, right? At the same time, I heard you turn around and just say then that you don't think the Jersey Flag should be shown. During the season, no, but absolutely the finals of our next big superstars. It pisses me off that they don't even show the SG Ball and Harold Matthews finals. Because there are some fantastic players in that competition that you hear, like Riley Pollard for Penrith. Gone and signed for Cronulla. We got no viewing of him this year. None whatsoever. So they're missing a trick on this one here, and you're absolutely right. Put me and you in a tin shed at Henson Park. I'll commentate the life out of it. So, I'm with you on this one. To find out that the New South Wales Cup is not being shown, but we've shown the Queensland Cup, and the New South Wales Cup is the far superior product.
Of course it is.
It's amazing.
Do you remember Terry, do you remember a couple of years ago at the Combank or Bankwest or whatever it was that week, where the mighty Newtown Jets won the grand final in extra time with one of the plays of forever, Billy Magoulia's chip kick, ever, and then the Will Kennedy try into the post. That drew huge numbers in front of a big, big crowd, and it was all anyone was talking about because it was the last game of the weekend before the next week's grand final festivities. And it ruled. And now you're going to log into a Facebook stream and sit there going, oh, geez, I hope the stream doesn't drop out. KO, get on it. Give Terry and I a call. We'll come out and commentate this Saturday, Sunday. I don't care where it is. We'll do it from home if we need to. Just get it on TV.
Hey, everyone. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of The Knock On, brought to you by Zero Tackle Fantastic website. Everybody there works really, really hard apart from Scott. Dan, what have we got on the website this week, and how can we get more content?
Well, look, I'm going to continue my recent tradition of making friends. I've written a what's gone wrong for Cronulla, which I'll drop in the groups probably by the time this lands tomorrow, hopefully.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not expecting it to be overly popular, but it was brutal and it was honest, which I believe is more important than making friends.
It was a great read. It was a great read.
Thank you, mate. And I've got one about Canberra going up very early in the morning. So Scott's just doing the last edits now.
No, he's
two
not.
wasn't very complete. Well, he's pretending to do the last edit. But it wasn't very complimentary. But again, they got bounced in the final. They probably should have won. So I make no apologies, mate. But checking, we got a heap of grand final stuff coming up. Heaps of finals, lots of lists. I'll be bringing back my world famous top 10 in each position, which last year went ballistic and not very positive, which made me feel good right in my cold dead heart. So.
Now, just quickly on this as well. My favourite app is the League Live app, because it's the most up to date and it's not the NRL app. And I got a notification the other day from League Live of 20 thoughts from week 1 of the finals, or 20 thoughts from round 27. And I opened it up and there you were, Dan. So fantastic. Zero Tackle just seems to be everywhere. The boys do exceptional work. They've put us on this podcast. It's absolutely smashing it. Make sure you support it in any way you can. Go there for your stories. Go there for your news and gossip. Go there for your podcasts. I'm Terry, joined by Dan. We're out.